Hey, everybody, and welcome to the newest episode, the Culture Cocktail Hour. Um,
Good to
Tonight,
have you back, Travis.
it's good to have you. Yeah, it's good to have you back too, Kurt. In
I'm
your
sorry.
in your
It's
house.
my fault. I've been
No.
busy.
No, don't worry about it. Life happens,
Yep.
and we're back.
Yes.
We're talking about some stuff tonight. Got some drinks again. Hopefully you're all drinking
Cheers,
along.
Travis.
Cheers to
Cheers to everyone at home.
another episode tonight. And tonight's episode, we're going to talk about a Cato Institute and YouGov poll a little bit at the beginning that states that 62% of Americans think and feel that they need to self-censor themselves in public discussion or in conversation. And surprisingly, it is not only just Republicans. And also how people that do think that way, how I can understand and think it's justified to get to that conclusion by seeing numbers like that, and then also just seeing the social cultural climate around us with that. So that's what's going on tonight.
Stick around.
Stick around.
I can literally drink this.
Alrighty,
We're back.
we are back. So I guess first order of business for tonight is we're gonna take a little bit of a closer look at that Cato Institute and YouGov poll.
Yeah.
Look a bit more in statistics. See if we can pull it up.
You want me to pull it up?
Yeah, say go ahead and pull it up. It'll be behind
right.
me here, but I'll read some of the kind of the highlights of it. And I think, well, I mean, there you go. My terrible pointing skills, but that literally alone, that right up there, that should alarm people, especially the subline underneath it. And it says what I said introducing the show. 62% of Americans say they have political views they are afraid to share. And right below that, 50% of strong liberals support firing Trump donors, which is absurd. 36% of strong conservatives support firing Biden donors, which is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
32% are worried about missing out on job opportunities because of their political
That's
opinions.
terrible. Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's bad.
That's disgusting. I think the fact that half of
I mean, that can go both ways too.
It
Whether
can.
you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Absolutely. The fact that you can be held accountable in your job for what you post on social media, who you voted for, or what you think.
I don't have social media.
Oh, you're smart. There's a lot of reasons people shouldn't have social media, but this being one of them. God forbid you share. You have one bad day at work. You go on Facebook and you post a post. You
post a post.
You make a post, and you share an opinion that maybe other people do not have. One, because you're a little angry that day, you got off work, whatever. You come into work the next day, your employer is like, "Hey, I got some. I was getting some, I was getting talked to by some of the other coworkers here."
What should scare you even more is that employers actually follow your social
they
media.
will look into your social media. I remember when
I think for like if you apply for new jobs now, you have to give them your social media accounts.
they because
Or some anyways.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I know it's on resume slots to put that in.
Yeah.
It is then on you whether or not you want to
Right,
put that
you
in
wanna
there.
do that.
I remember growing you don't get access to my social. Work is work.
Yeah,
My outside life is outside
right,
life.
yeah.
What I thought was very interesting when I was growing up is that's what teachers and my parents told me. They were like, yeah, your employer inevitably, especially with how fast the internet is going,
Oh yeah.
they will look at your social media,
Yep.
especially if you're active on it and doing things regularly and consistently. They'll take a look at that. And
They're not looking right now.
and if they care, man, oh my goodness, if they
No,
care.
it's,
But I
I'm
honestly
not
don't think
We're
they
not talking
do.
about anything bad.
Exactly. We're not talking. That's another great point. Is that most people that are discussing their opinions or their values or their views, they're not coming from a place of hatred
No.
or bigotry. They're just sharing their collected wisdom and their knowledge over the life that they have seen. Maybe they don't take in opposing viewpoints or other ways of analyzing the situation, but that doesn't mean they're inherently bigoted and wrong.
I mean, you and I both, we're pretty much right down the center anyways. I mean, we may lean
I
one way
was gonna
or-
definitely, I will definitely,
Right,
that seesaw definitely gets slanted down to this side of the aisle more often than not. But
you know,
I walk the thin line in the middle.
exactly,
I have to
exactly.
because I
at least
I put my
use
one foot.
reason to,
I think you have to.
you have to.
If you don't use logic and reason and you don't ground your argument or your beliefs or the way you view your world in logic, fact, statistics,
Critical
reason,
thinking. We always talk about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily the idea that you can go find one study that says one and one study that says the other, and then you have to pick one that you believe. How about you just utilize both that information and then form your own opinion?
Right.
And then from your own opinion, maybe see which camp you align a bit more to, but in actuality, just be yourself and then cast your vote where your conscience lies. That was a bit of a tangent, but
Yeah,
it does pertain to this article.
It says some more here. Let's go
Well,
down and-
nearly 2/3 of Americans, 62%, which is alarming.
That's huge.
That's scary to me because, to me, the foundations of this country are built on the values of free speech and individualism and liberty, and that means you get to share your viewpoints and your beliefs and your values.
right there. Read below that. So in the finer print there,
Yeah.
read that because that's actually very important.
And that's a yes. I'm glad you brought that up because that is another big prime point that I was trying to get at with this article. And when I said at the beginning, it's not just Republicans. These fears cross partisan lines, which is very uncommon this day and age for something to bleed into both sides of the aisle, to say so. Majorities of Democrats, 52%, half of Democrats. Independents, 59%, over half of independents. And Republicans, 77%. I'm not surprised by that at all.
me neither.
All agree they have political opinions they are afraid to share.
So I mean, granted, some of these are higher than the others, but that's terrible.
Well,
Even if Democrats, that's still a majority.
It's over half of your
Democrats.
I
Exactly.
guarantee you half of the registered Democrats that they asked.
Right.
And that should alarm people because then the only people, let's see if we can scroll down a bit more to find it. The only people that feel as if they do not need to self-censor themselves, surprise, surprise, are far left Democrats. They're progressive Democrats. And it's because every avenue of life, from mainstream media to Hollywood to corporations, is feeding into their narrative and their political beliefs and then projecting it out and putting it on a pedestal, and everybody has to believe it.
Yeah.
And if people who are technically in the same party as those radical leftists think that they need to censor themselves around other people, maybe you're not in control of your own party anymore, and maybe we're living in borderline dystopia. I think if you can't share your own views, if you can literally commit thought crime in the United States of America, it's dystopian. It's ridiculous. The fact that you are scared to share what you believe is asinine to me.
Yeah, I agree.
It scares me. And I don't think those numbers aren't inflated at all. I think that's
I
a
don't
pretty
think so
I think
either.
that's
It's
a pretty
accurate.
solid,
I would say.
solid number, period. Yeah. Oh, surprise, surprise. Strong liberals don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's changed? In 2017, most centrist liberals felt confident, 54%, they could express their views.
So here's the big dividing factor here. Strong conservatives up here, strong
That's
liberals
a great
down
graph.
here. Yeah,
that is an amazing
isn't that
graph.
kind of crazy? Yeah.
Because it shows you where the winds of change are blowing,
Yeah.
and it's to the radical left of the Democratic Party. When you have liberals split half and half, damn near half and half, as to they're afraid to share their opinion or not, maybe you're doing something wrong.
You're doing
maybe you should analyze your political narrative and the fact that you label anybody that is not on the same page with you 100% as the evil other side and castigate them entirely. And statistics like 62% of Americans think that they need to censor. I'd say that's a pretty accurate statistic, and especially that 77% in conservatives and strong conservatives.
I absolutely agree with that.
Every avenue of life, like I said, from mainstream media, from corporations to Hollywood, is upholding a progressive left narrative. Not that it's always wrong. That's another thing I think conservatives dig themselves a hole into, is that saying, because they're shoving this narrative down our throats, it gets misconstrued as that we find everything wrong with it. And I think that is untrue.
You know what bothers me more is that people are actually even afraid that if they say something, at work, that they could lose their jobs. Like, just for voicing an opinion, that's whether you're on the left or on the right or right down the middle.
It angers
me. That's scary, man.
It's scary.
If your job can, and it all kind of almost boils down to who's running your company. What side are they on?
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean? If they're sitting there thinking,
that plays a huge
they don't think
role.
The same way I do. So, see ya.
They don't have the same social beliefs that I do. It could go the other way. I'm religious and they're not, so I have to axe them entirely. That's dangerous modes of thinking. It leads to nowhere good. Historically, even it leads to nowhere good. And I think that's kind of a good shoehorn into like the second.
Yeah, that's kind of where we were going.
Kind of topic.
Where I was going with it.
And I think with numbers like that, when you have basically everyone besides strong liberals over 50%, damn near, that they say they do or do not have to censor themselves around other people, that affects into every avenue of life, because then it becomes, all right, that phrase there at the bottom, I wish I would. In fact, there have been shifts across the board where more people among all political groups feel they are walking on eggshells. That is a perfect analogy, because you have to tiptoe around conversation pieces. You can't say one thing in fear of setting somebody else off. And I think prime example of that, as of recently, is the news about Gina Carano, who what was her Cara? Was it Cara Dune? I think that's her name.
I think so.
In the
I
show.
Think you're right.
Yeah, Cara Dune.
Cara Dune. What a name.
No, I know. Yeah.
And what's your name?
Cara Dune. I'm the.
What's funny is
I'm the bounty hunter.
It's almost like her name. It's kind of.
It is actually kind of cool. Well, I think it's the C, and
no, it's Cara. It's
but
the first four letters of her last name.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm the moron. You're 100% right. But it's
like the game Dune.
There's a. All right, this is a tangent. There's a book called Dune. Read it if you like books.
Oh yeah,
read it.
didn't you? You told me about that actually.
It's one of my. Quick side tangent. Then we'll get back to this. Dune is a science fiction book, kind of about millennia after Earth, but how Earth carries out into the rest of the cosmos.
Yeah.
And it has to do a lot with genetics and terraforming, making a planet habitable.
Terraforming.
Yeah.
What a word.
Yeah.
I know a band called Terraform.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, of course.
But
and they're in local bands.
Even better. But finally, before we get back to this, if you like Lord of the Rings or like sci-fi fantastical things, Dune is just space Lord of the Rings. There's heavy amounts of backstory and lore. It has like its own language at times. It's a really interesting read.
Cool.
It's written by Frank Herbert. It's an amazing book. I recommend reading it. Back to Gina Carano here after the Dune segue. So Gina Carano was let go from Lucasfilm within the last couple days. She starred in the Disney Plus show The Mandalorian. She is Cara Dune, the bounty hunter Cara Dune. She plays a fairly I will say I only watched to the end of season 1 of The Mandalorian.
I only got like 5 episodes in,
okay.
so I've got a lot to watch.
I think she shows up at like 4 or 5.
Yeah, so she had just shown up in the show before.
And then she kind of plays this this support character, this kind of B-plot character that helps. And in my opinion, she is a great actress, especially in that show. And I've seen her in.
She's still basically she's like a bounty hunter herself, right?
Yes, she's a bounty hunter within the world.
Yeah.
She's a great actress. I thought she was great in that show.
Yeah.
in the outside world, outside of Hollywood, based on her social media feeds and what she's had to say, she is of probably the political right, maybe center right.
Maybe, yeah.
So,
Full coffee.
so it initially, what started with her, what the whole backlash was yeah, it's
Where you want me to go here?
yeah, see, oh yeah, that's right, she was in Deadpool. See if you can.
I mean, this right here.
Okay,
tells-
well, that's pretty much what happens in the end. But it started out with her not putting her preferred pronouns in
Yeah.
bio.
Okay. Yeah. So that's
Pronouns in bio. Pronouns in bio.
Where's that at?
I think it might be one more paragraph down. There.
Yes, it's right there.
Had previously been at the center of social media controversy when she was accused of mocking people. Keyword accused. She was accused of mocking people who state their preferred pronouns. And the verbiage literally gave everything you need to know about their preferred. Sorry, end of discussion. Preferred pronouns online by placing the words, quote, beep/bop/boop on her Twitter profile. And to me, as somebody who goes on Twitter regularly, that's hilarious because every other person, regardless of the fact that I could tell without clicking on your profile or not, puts their pronouns in their bio to show that they care or whatever.
Who cares?
Exactly, Kurt.
Yeah,
nobody.
yeah, nobody cares.
And had shared conspiracy theories in November about the result of the 2020 U.S. presidential election. Conspiracy theories is a strong word, especially when you look into the tweets, and she's talking about maybe counting legal ballots and maybe needing an ID to vote.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, God forbid.
Isn't there a big stink in Arizona right now about like all of the like, they're actually. I don't know if it's a judge has found out some information and they're actually bringing light to
bringing it out.
Yeah. They're bringing out all the illegal ballots and.
Oh, I mean, it's
still going on. Trust me.
I was gonna say there's gonna be litigation probably going on
for a year or more.
Years.
Yeah.
Especially with mail-in voting. Yeah, mail-in voting is going to do that because it's rife with fraud. Period. End of discussion. So conspiracy theories, strong word. Corona also previously ridiculed the wearing of masks to protect against COVID-19. Ridiculed was a good word choice because it doesn't risk. Here's what she said about masks. Experts. I wish we could pull up the post, but I saw it today. Experts tell you that you should wear a blindfold with your mask. That way you don't see what's going on. A joke.
Oh,
clearly the jokiest of jokes. And it's a great joke. It's hilarious. At least to me, that's hilarious because health experts from day one didn't even know if we should wear masks or not. And now they're saying we should wear two.
So we're still how far are we into 15 days?
Yeah, we're over a year into 15 days to slow the spread, everybody. Blame the orange man if you want. I'd say maybe blame the viral infection that showed up on our border.
Maybe.
In a statement, Lucasfilm said
the flu, right?
All right.
Sorry.
You mean the whoop?
The whoop flu? I'm gonna be that.
Anyway,
I'm instigating tonight.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. We need instigators. The world needs instigators because instigators.
You should instigate us.
Instigators start the conversation. If instigators are wrong, they get proven wrong, but they still started the conversation.
Message piss us off.
Well, exactly. Clickety clack away. Clickety clack away, keyboard warrior.
Stand
Yell at
everything
me.
you're saying.
Yell from the mom's basement. See if I care. Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm, and there are no plans for her to be in the future. They say that because I think there were plans in the works for her to have her own spin-off show or star in other Lucasfilm Star Wars spin-offs.
She's 38. Wow, I did not know that.
Okay. She looks good for 38. I'll say that. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. That statement is so self-explanatory that it's obvious. And she also did not denigrate people based on their cultural and religious identities.
Okay. So let's go off of that. Remember how what we talked about earlier is this is perfect to lead into. Okay, Disney.
Yes.
Let's talk about Disney a little bit.
All right, Disney.
Yeah.
Disney, who owns Lucasfilm and puts on Disney Plus regularly all the shows under that.
A new one that came out recently?
Denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. Okay.
Let's go down this road.
Let us go down this road. There is a famous animated Disney movie called Mulan. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
Yeah. Within the last 2 to 3 years.
And
Because
now it's an actual
that's what I was
not
just-
animated.
Yeah, because Disney is running out of ideas and the well is dried up.
exactly.
They just went, hey, let's live action all of our good stuff.
Can we make money real quick?
Exactly. And so they did. That's what they did with Lion King, Aladdin,
Mm-hmm.
and now that's what they're doing with Mulan. All of them suck. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
The originals are great. The live
No,
action
I
sucks.
agree.
I digress. In the credits for the live action Mulan, there is a special thank you to the Xinjiang province of the
The
People's
Xinjiang
Republic.
province, you say?
Yes, of the People's Republic
Tell
of
me
China.
where that is and
So that is
what's going on
That
there?
is located
I
in
need more whiskey.
the heart and center of the communist authoritarian nation of China.
Okay.
And in the
Is it a peaceful place? That's
I've
going-
only heard amazing things.
Travis, will you tell me?
I've
Tell me
only
more.
heard great things. I've heard that you can take these amazing
Some more whiskey.
these
Let's talk about
amazing religious missionary trips.
this. This is terrible. We shouldn't be laughing.
I
because
can
it's-
laugh. I laugh because I know it's tragedy and it's real, and nobody else is
No one's
talking about
talking
it.
about
And
it.
Disney has the audacity to say to denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities when they support Xinjiang province of China, which is
Do the research on your own. please.
systematically rounding up and shipping off Uyghur Muslims to concentration camps and chemically castrating their women,
Harvesting organs.
harvesting organs, and submitting these imprisoned women to gang rape,
Yep.
as reported by the alt press.
It is happening. There's
I think,
footage.
I
of
know
it
you and I
happening.
have seen the
Yep,
drone
yep,
footage
yep.
of Uyghur Muslims being
Yep.
loaded onto a train and
They
then
shave their heads,
Their
they-
shaved
yep,
heads,
yep.
and they move on. They're doing the same things to Christians too,
Yep.
because it's the Chinese Communist Party and they don't like religion because communists and socialists don't like religion.
So come on, Disney. Let's talk about this.
So yeah, let's talk about your cultural and religious identities. Denigrating people based on that. So we'll fire Gina Carano. For the grave sin of making an overwrought Holocaust comparison. I will pull up the.
Ooh.
We're breaking stuff. That's what it is.
Travis is getting excited
going.
now.
We're going crazy. Give
the
me
whiskey.
It's dangerous. Just give me 1 second here. Okay.
Yep.
So yes, that Bebop Boop thing happened. The mask and looking into election thing is also what happened. The straw that broke the camel's back was she posted a photo to her Instagram story with the quote above it. It was a Jewish girl running away from Nazi soldiers in Nazi Germany. Holocaust comparisons are overwrought, so I get if everybody's already tuning out for the Holocaust comparison. Quote, Jews were beaten in the street, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Two things can be true at once. Those are literally both true. The actor continued to say, because history is edited, most people today do not realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different? This is, I think, where people are freaking the hell out. How is that any different from hating someone from their political views? It is different because there's an ethnic cleansing and ethnic minority status to the idea of being Jewish. But there is also, if you can live in fear of somebody saying you don't get a job or you don't get to have a say in the public forum because of what you believe, how is that different from you saying because you're ex-religion, you don't get a say in anything? There's a slight difference, but
No,
it's so different, it's similar.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of people get scared with that kind of stuff because they see that it can even happen to someone like her, a former MMA star, somebody who's been in quite a few movies now. She's building a name for herself. She wants to become an actress.
She was in Deadpool, right?
She was in
Yeah,
Deadpool. She was one of the bad guys in Deadpool.
Very small role, but still.
Even still, to get a role in a
Yeah,
Marvel
yeah,
movie,
yeah.
that's pretty solid.
I mean, if you're in there with Ryan Reynolds, you got to be doing
you
something,
did something.
right? Yeah.
You did something.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what was also ironic especially after this BS line of denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities, they let Gina Carano go. Somebody who works, as a matter of fact, on the
Mhm.
exact same show, named Pedro Pascal. You might know him as the Mandalorian, the main dude of the show.
So if people don't know who he is also in the show. Remember that show that came out? It was about drug cartels.
Yeah,
it was,
I knew exactly. It's
yeah,
Narcos.
Yeah, Narcos.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in
He's
Narcos.
he's one of the main
DEAs.
agents.
Yep.
He's amazing.
He's so
I
good.
love Pedro Pascal as an
So
actor.
good, yeah.
He's the leftist.
He's great.
He's
Yeah, he is.
He's a progressive leftist.
mean,
but so are most of my favorite actors. at this point.
99.9% of Hollywood
Exactly.
is.
Exactly. Most of my favorite actors are, so I don't care.
Yeah.
This is an article from National Review talking about essentially what Kurt and I are just talking about. Charlie pointed out earlier that unlike Gina Carano, who was just fired, the Mandalorian star Pedro Pascal didn't get in trouble from his employer in 2018 for making a fatuous comparison between Jews rounded up by Nazis in the Holocaust and illegal immigrant children being jailed in the U.S.
And this is what he actually posted.
This is the actual tweet.
You can see it. You can see it right here.
Yes. Germany 1944, Jews in concentration camps. Awful. God awful. America 2018, migrant children brought under probably not the choice of their own, probably by their own parents or people that are acting as their parents, because that statistically
Right.
does happen.
It's yep. A lot, actually. It's more often
are
than not.
detained at the border, and people have a problem that they are kept separated, which is a law under the Flores Agreement, which we were talking a little bit about
Yes.
before starting, that mandates that children can be held up to in detention for up to 20 hours. I believe without seeing their parents. And who is the president that I was actually trying to sign something and change that into power
it was
to make it so that parents and their kids can
And it
stay
was
together?
Trump.
It was President Trump.
Yeah. Who built the cages?
And that's exactly.
Who built the cages, Joe?
Hey, Pedro, who built the cages? Hashtag This Is America. That's another great part of the tweet, is that he just
Someone
captioned,
says right here, I mean, like, I don't know what this exactly said. I never read this.
please don't make this comparison. Both are terrible situations. However, they are not comparable. This is just offensive.
Yeah.
And this was this is something you and I were talking about. If people were to just have done that, just go, hey, I understand what you're trying to say. Maybe don't make the overwrought
you can't make that
Holocaust
com-
comparison,
you can't.
because the Holocaust is the Holocaust,
Yeah.
and we're discussing nothing
Come on.
else. There are genocides, but the Holocaust.
Those people in the top picture there probably died.
Yeah,
Down here,
I guarantee you,
got shipped back to Mexico.
85 to 99%
Yeah.
of people pictured in the Germany 1944 photo probably did not make it out. And that's a sad, sad reality.
Have you ever seen the movie The Pianist?
No, I know you've talked
I've
you've
told
talked
you
about it
that.
many a
Adrian
time.
Brody.
I've seen the trailer for it, and it looks
dude,
amazing. It looks phenomenal. One, because
it really portrays the brutalness of what happened back then.
and you need to.
You have
to, because something like that cannot be. There's a reason we say. We say never forget.
Those kids didn't get slaughtered. I'm sorry, they did not.
They probably got caught and released, or sent back.
Send them back to Mexico,
Send them
wherever
back
they're
to Mexico.
from.
That's not me being racist. That's them being detained.
There's a legal port of entry. You say you do the things the legal way, which can be done. It may be hard, but if you're living in America, nothing's really that easy.
Nothing is easy.
Yeah, I work basically 3 jobs.
No, you work and you work and you strive for things, and especially individuals that try to cross the border illegally. You're basically saying to everybody that actually stood in line, paid the money, showed up, and took the oath. You're saying, I don't even need to do that. I can literally just sprint through.
Yep.
And that's not true. That's not true.
It's not.
There is a legal process for entering this country. If you don't like that, that's a discussion we can have.
There's a
legal process.
There's a lot of Americans now that have gone through the same process. It can be done. It may take time. It may not be easy, but it can be done. Just do it.
To be fair,
just do it.
To be fair, they are some of the most American people I have ever seen. They're so proud.
It goes both ways. I know some people that have gone through that process.
That despise it.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Sure. It's very long-winded.
Or they despise America now, and it's like, okay, but you fought so hard and you get American citizenship, and now you're basically shitting on America.
Yeah, shit on it.
This is weird, because I guarantee you there's some people that would love to take your place, either from Cuba or from
Nicaragua,
yeah, exactly.
Venezuela,
all
Syria,
over the place.
China. There's a lot of places where things aren't so great,
Yeah.
and people come to America
They
for
would
a
love to come here
better,
and take your
sustainable
citizenship. Yep,
life.
absolutely.
100%. And
5-minute warning I got.
okay,
just
no,
so you-
absolutely, you're just fine. That's and this hashtag "This is America" VS angers me because
Oh, but let's say what happened to Pedro?
what happened to Pedro
Pascal.
Pascal?
Yeah, what happened to him?
All I know is that he has him
So
literally.
he should have gotten fired, right?
Technically,
You should-
I mean,
wait, hold on, hold on,
he's
hold
making
on.
overwrought Holocaust comparisons.
Gina,
Gina Carano made an overwrought Holocaust comparison, which she deleted. She is now deleted.
this is still live,
Pedro
by the
Pascal
way.
still has his "This is America"
This is
tweet
live
up
from
And
2018.
From 2018, granted, it's a couple years old, but shame indeed.
So let me ask this: this was probably while they were filming Mandalorian, right?
Yes,
Because Mandalorian came out
2019, 2020,
early 2020,
early 2020,
right?
late
Yeah.
2019.
Okay, yeah. So this
They
was
were
while they were
they
filming.
were probably towards the end of filming.
This is while they
Yeah.
were filming, yeah. And he
He still has his
working for
job,
him.
and I'm pretty sure he's still going to be Mando.
He will be, man.
And I have no problem with him being Mando. He can believe that. I believe it's wrong, but he can believe that. He's an American. He can do whatever he wants. But
So what side of the aisle is Pedro on? We already talked about this. I think he's on the left, right?
Oh,
Just a tad.
maybe.
Just a
I don't
tad.
know. You're only comparing America
Where's
to
Pedro
Nazi
from?
Germany.
Is he
That is a good question. I don't know.
I don't know his national. Oh, all right. Hold on, guys. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm
I know that
I'm
he
sorry.
because he is a well, because that's why he has him literally in his Twitter handle, which is dumb. He's a big proponent of this trans right movement. He's I believe he is definitely into immigration reform. Nathan,
Let's find out here. Let's look at his Wikipedia.
let us.
All
He's a
right.
Chilean American. Yeah, I
Okay.
could definitely tell that.
So was he born here then?
Let's see. No, he's born in Santiago. That's awesome. Amazing.
Oh, hey.
No, that's great. I
Look
want
at that.
I want you in
So you came to America.
he did come to America. Let's
to
see.
make
Okay.
a better life.
Oh,
And
okay. Pascal's parents were supporters of Salvador Allende and were involved in the opposition movement against the military dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet in Chile around the time of Pascal's birth.
dictatorship is
Yep.
all I need
Because
to
of
hear.
this, 9 months after his birth, Pascal's family was granted political asylum in Denmark. The family ultimately moved to the United States, and Pascal was raised in Orange County, California,
California.
and
Okay,
San Antonio, Texas,
that's
which
all I
is
need to
essentially just California and Texas.
Yeah, that's
By the time he was 8, his family was able to take regular trips back to Chile to visit his 34 first cousins. Holy hell. Pascal was involved in competitive swimming during his early years and took part in the state in Texas. Okay. That's amazing.
So yeah,
I think it's great.
Hey,
I
great.
think
I'm glad you came, and you are an American citizen.
you are an American
you
citizen.
did
That's not
exactly what you
something.
needed
That's not
to
something
do.
we're denying
Right.
either.
Nope,
You're an
nope.
American citizen. You went through
Yep.
all of it. You're here. As
Yep.
a matter of fact, you're a very high paid actor.
That's great.
Um,
Look at how successful you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, America made you into something great.
Yes, because you had a talent and
yes.
you got pushed up into something.
And you had the you had the ability here. I guarantee you, in Chile, wouldn't
in
happen.
Chile, under your military
military, yeah,
dictatorship,
exactly.
you wouldn't have stood a chance.
So you're mad that these people crossing the border
probably
are
fleeing
illegal,
fleeing from the country.
Fleeing
You
from-
probably also
fleeing from a
fled
dictatorship. I'm sorry.
and fleeing from poor health conditions. A lot of them are coming from Honduras and Nicaragua, which are terrible countries,
Yes.
especially Nicaragua.
Yeah.
And period of discussion. And you turn around and complain and bash and say this is America.
So what
literally.
you're saying is you want open borders. Basically, is what
A
you're
lot-
saying.
but a lot-
Anybody should be able to
but
come here.
No,
and do
a lot
whatever
of
they
people
want.
on the political left
Yeah.
do want.
I know.
open
I know.
borders.
That's scary.
It's scary.
I
do think it's scary.
Imagine the millions of people that would just
The
come
amount
here.
of millions of people show up at the border already, and
Yep,
there's not
I
open
know.
borders.
Exactly.
You're gonna open it up and just let them walk in?
Say goodbye to our jobs. Period. Yeah. I'm not trying to say that in a bad way.
No, absolutely. Because I've come to a new country. I have nothing. I need to find a job.
Yeah. What will you pay me?
Company, what will you
Minimum
pay?
wage. Oh, great.
Oh, great. That's more than I ever made in
Yeah.
my military
That's
dictatorship
10
country.
times what I ever made.
Yeah,
in-
so I would gladly
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
You need me to work 80 hours a week? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do that. Because a lot of them are
Yep.
Ethically,
Yep, you're
they're
right.
they're hardworking. They're individual people.
And I'll
They-
give it to them for that.
they're
That's amazing.
incredibly
Yep, that's
they're
fantastic.
incredibly resilient, especially if you have the dream of coming to America
Yep.
and making something
Yep.
for yourself.
And if you do it the legal way, all the more power
All
to
the more
you, man.
power to
Yep,
you. And that's what I was gonna. That's what a point that I was gonna.
we'll wrap it up on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this day and age, if you think you need to censor yourself, don't. That's dumb. Period. End discussion. You do not need to censor yourself. The fact that somebody like Gina Carano, who is probably of the center right politically, can get fired for doing the.
He's probably really close to center, actually. I imagine if you're in Hollywood, you're not.
You
too
kind of
far
have to
right,
be.
yeah.
You're like, yeah,
She's
I'm a
probably like
Republican.
Matthew McConaughey. You know,
Yeah,
like
she's
very
probably
center.
yeah, probably. I just know like based on her social media, she definitely seems to be a Republican. I don't know if it would be conservative, hardcore,
No,
red-blooded.
like you said, she's probably
She's center right.
leans
She's center
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
probably. But because she can do something just as similar as to the star of that same show,
Yeah.
but she gets fired and he does not.
Yep.
I think that speaks to a broader overall contingency of how regular everyday Americans, center right Americans,
And her
feel.
posts were more recent, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, because all of her posts and her doing the whole pronouns thing, that was like end of
Right.
2020.
So his was 2018.
His are a
while
couple
they
years
were
old.
filming, probably, and nothing happened. Not even a
Not even a peep.
peep.
Not a peep. And
That's
I guess
so
going
disgusting.
off that
If I was her, I'd be
I'd be
yelling.
I'd be
No,
suing.
no,
I'd be
oh
suing.
yeah, absolutely. And I'd be yelling. Oh, that's
Sexism.
you are sexism. Exactly. That's
If,
what I was waiting
if you're
for.
gonna throw isms at me, I'm gonna throw them right back at you.
Absolutely.
I don't like whataboutism. Another
But
ism.
all they're gonna do
But-
is claim, oh, she
Well,
just
you're
wasn't
bigoted.
a good role.
Yeah.
No, she wasn't good in her role. Like that's all
Besides the
they'll
fact
say.
she was an enjoyable character
Yeah.
and she's a good actress.
I
I
thought
enjoy
she
her.
did great,
She
yeah.
was great in that movie.
Honestly,
that show.
Pascal in that show, I was like, meh. I mean, I could go with or without.
I think with Pedro Pascal, it was more of the there's no Pedro Pascal likeness. Rather,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
his
It's
voice.
just his voice.
So
No,
up until
I can see it in his
the end,
mannerisms too a little bit.
for sure.
Yeah.
And one final thing.
Yep,
off
one
of-
final thing.
After
We
the
gotta
fact that he was he's born in Chile and then claimed asylum in Denmark, then came here in America. My mom has told me stories. She's gone down to City Hall as well as the courthouse and seen people finalize their citizenship
Yeah.
tests. They say that Pledge of Allegiance, they take their oath,
Yep.
and they're American citizens. And she's told me she has never seen people happier, people crying, people jumping for joy at the fact that they now
Imagine.
have a shot because they're a citizen of a country that guarantees them the right to go out and do whatever
you
they
want to do.
hell
Yep.
that you want without
Not for now. I'm sorry, Travis.
No, you're absolutely
I'm
right.
gonna
We'll
say
leave it
it,
off
man.
on that
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
You're able
For
to
now.
do
Yeah.
everything that you want for
We'll
now.
see how the next 3 years.
the next 3
and
years will tell you-
11 months.
Yeah,
Or, yeah,
yeah,
11 months.
the next 3 years will very much tell you.
What-
As
yeah.
if and especially if you start to
If we
see,
last that long.
if also you start to see even
God, I hope we
a
last that
bit
long.
more of an increase in like those numbers of people even on the political left, slightly off
Oh,
to
yeah,
the center
they're gonna-
left,
yeah.
that are saying I can't even say my point of view
Yeah.
because the radical left gets upset and mad at me, and then I lose my job.
Yeah.
And this is what conservatives have been saying the entire time. It's a slippery slope. It starts with just Republicans. It starts with just your enemy. And then
No, they'll eat their own.
exactly the person that gets eaten last, the person that gets killed last
Yep.
is the person that came up with the idea.
Yep.
Every dictatorship and authoritarian regime has told us that. So you thinking it just pertains to one side only lasts so long. I say it to you all the time, Kurt. Government is nothing but a big bag of money and a gun.
Yep.
And you tell it where you want it to go. And whoever's in control tells you where you want it to
Well,
go.
right now, the Democrats are all in control.
And if you're a Democrat, you're happy. But if you're a Democrat, I think there's a little
Yeah,
conscience at the back of your
yeah.
head that goes,
oh, shit.
oh man, if I give myself this much power, maybe the other side of the aisle gives themselves as much power and completely clubs me in submission. I'm also not saying that's what Republicans need to do.
No.
I'm saying that is a
That's not what
that
they
is
need
a
to do.
possible
Yeah.
inevitable conclusion.
Right,
out of
but that's
completely-
not what they need to do.
That is
Yeah,
not what
yeah,
they need to
yeah,
do. As a
yeah,
matter of fact,
yeah.
they need to look them
You
in the
need
eyes.
to come together.
You need to
and
come together, look each other in
yeah,
eyes,
yeah.
and go, "You're wrong about this."
That's where our
I
central,
agree with you
that's
here.
Where our central,
and that's where I think a lot of people are moving towards libertarian or just not
I agree. You
identifying.
said we're going to start our own party.
Yeah, and
I completely agree with that.
it's timely because
I'm going to start the whiskey party.
as a matter, yeah, whiskey in the basement party. We're starting it just like the GOP is starting the anti-Trump party. So the third party whiskey in the basement party. You can own guns. You can be.
You know what? Own guns, drink whiskey. I don't care what you do. Watch our show. Listen to it.
Yeah, watch our show. Give me your feedback. That's What is it? It's like I want my gay neighbors to grow weed while I own my gun and I study my Bible.
Yeah.
I think that was the overall thing. It's Mimi, but it's true.
Feedback. Hang out with us. Drink with us.
Drink with us. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Let me know if I pissed you off. Let me know if I made you think, because that's what I want to do.
Definitely let him know. Don't let me know.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit.
Screw this guy. He doesn't care, but I do. So let me know.
Yeah.
And cheers to y'all.
Till next time.
Cheers to you, Kurt.
Yep. Cheers
to
you.
Good episode.
Yeah, this was
Thank
fun.
you all for tuning in.
Take care.
And,